I'm Bob Joseph. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. 607-772-1290 is my number. I will gladly speak with you about some local, state, national, and global topics, even the war, if we must. WNBF. Peace is not at hand. The end. Full stop. Gas prices are still too high. Some people were remarking how happy they were that gas now has slipped a little bit under $4 a gallon, to which I say, yeah, but what was it on February 28th? And then they look at me and say, yeah, you got a good point. You have a good point. The gas prices 6 months ago were so affordable. The food prices 6 months ago were quite affordable. Life in America and around the world was enjoyable. And then, poo. Oh, well, these things sadly can't be avoided because elections have consequences. At any rate, we'll talk about the status of the war. He says he's going to bomb the bleep out of one of our allies. Well, I'm sure the people in Canada and Mexico and France and England and Italy are happy to hear his plan to bomb the bleep out of one of our friends. With friends like the United States, who really needs enemies? This is all part of the big mess that the next president will be tasked with cleaning up starting January 20th, 2029. So hopefully whoever is elected will... hopefully whoever is elected will do a good job at cleaning up the unbelievable mess. Let's go directly to the phones. Good morning. You're on the air. Congratulations. You're caller number one. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Manuel.
Good morning.
Morning. I lost you yesterday. I was driving through the mountain and lost service.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. At least today you can hear the program loud and clear. What's on your mind?
Yesterday when I was listening to you guys are talking about the energy, and I think the most important thing is when the Democrats push the new Green Deal, that's what's causing the high electric bills and the energy bills. It's everything has to do with the new Green Deal, and that is on the Democrats for pushing it. And if people can remember, they go back, there was a lot of people that said if you do it this way, that the energy bills are going to go through the roof. That it wasn't a secret.
Nobody said it's a secret. As I say almost every day, elections have consequences. That's what the people voted for.
Yeah, so, I mean, your high energy bills is because of the Democrats. 100%.
My high gasoline bill is because of the Republicans. So maybe you could say they balance each other out. If the Republican president, Donald Trump, didn't start the war 6 months ago, I'd be paying probably $1 a gallon less than I just paid. I filled my tank, and I am happy. The gas price this morning at my purveyor of petrol was $3.98 a gallon. So I give Donald Trump credit, and I was thinking as I put that petrol in my tank, I was thinking, yeah, $3.98 a gallon. It's below $4. I should call Patrick DeHaan and file a bulletin with Gas Buddies. And then I thought he would just laugh in my face and say, Bob, what was the gas price 6 months ago before the war? And I'd say, you're right, Mr. Buddy. And then he would say, so if it weren't for the war, then you, Mr. Bob Joseph, would be paying less at the pump this morning. So, it's the truth.
Right, but I remember when the gas was even higher under Biden.
Yeah, I remember it too. You don't have. I wrote the stories. You make it sound as though when the gas prices were closing in on $5 a gallon around here, that I was oblivious. No, I was reporting it. I was on the front lines of gas prices. Okay, I lied. Gas prices. The price of gas at my favorite station was not $1 a gallon less before he started the war. It was $1.03 a gallon less. So he started the war on February 28th. Of course, I drove directly to the gas station to buy lots of gas because I knew the prices would be going up quickly. And so on Monday morning, March 2nd, I filled up at $2.95 a gallon. Today, on August 18th, I filled up at $3.98 a gallon. So you're supposed to tell me that there isn't one person on the planet responsible for this?
What I was trying to say is I remember when Biden was in office and, this whole gas thing came up, and your gas buddy that came on, he stated, well, the president doesn't have any, he can't.
Well, the president at that time didn't have anything to do with it. If Biden had started a war at that time, instead of $5 a gallon gas, it could have been $6 or $7 a gallon. That's the whole point. Presidents do have a certain degree of latitude, and any president, Republican or Democrat, even communists, they would figure it out. If you start a war and have anything that's going to affect the 24/7 operations of the Strait of Hormuz, the gas price is going to go up. So, yeah, gas prices were high under Biden, but he didn't do anything specifically. He didn't take a single action that contributed to the high gas prices. Donald Trump did, and he did it on February 28th.
Can I get 1 second? Joe Biden was involved in the war. He involved himself in the Ukraine.
He didn't start it.
War.
He didn't start a war. Here's the difference between Biden and Trump. Biden didn't start a war. Trump did. And Biden, by the way, inherited the sick mess that Afghanistan was. Even though Trump in his first term had pledged to shut it down. He left office and left the Afghanistan mess to Joe Biden. So, for those who criticize Joe Biden for his inartful ending of the war, that wouldn't have happened except Donald Trump didn't follow through on a pledge he made for his first term.
Hang on a second. The war with Iran and Israel and all that started under Obama. Iran was...
Yeah, I'm not oblivious to American history. As I said yesterday, and somebody noted, I read the internet too. I have the same internet that you do. I pay hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars a year for internet access, so I read the same factual information that you and everybody else does. I'm aware of the regional conflicts. My point is, gas prices in early March here were more than $1 a gallon less. And then, because of one thing and one person only, actually you could say it was Netanyahu and Trump. I guess I ought to give credit where it's due. So Netanyahu and Trump worked to raise our gas prices by more than $1 a gallon.
But hey, if you give me a minute, though, that war, Palestine invaded Israel. Okay? Israel has the right to defend itself.
Yes, Israel should defend itself. I've never argued that point. Israel must defend itself. The United States must not get involved in unnecessary and expensive conflicts that will kill innocent Americans and innocent girls at a school, along with their teachers on a Saturday. America is better than that.
But may I please finish? We got involved when Iran killed over 50,000. You don't ever mention that. You want to bring the school up.
Hey, why didn't we get involved when China was killing its private citizens? Because we knew better. You have to pick your battles, man. We can't go after every country that kills its citizens. What if Canada attacked us because U.S. officers were killing people in Minnesota. We wouldn't like that.
Why did Obama go after Libya?
I don't want to relitigate Libya. I don't want to talk about the past. I'm talking about 2026. And the most important question now is what, if anything, will President Trump do to end his war?
Trump wants to end the war.
He wants to, but he can't. I know he wants to. He has buyer's regret. Most people who start wars, I think history will show, regret that they started it. Seemed like a good idea, relatively speaking. Starting wars are easy. Ending wars are very difficult.
But what I want to say, if you just give me 1 minute, is Iran was attacking our allies and kept attacking our allies. For whatever reason, we had to step in and help our allies, right? That's just the way everything works with allies.
I mean, the way we're going to bomb the bleep out of Oman? Come on. This country is better than that. We have to be extremely careful. We are the most powerful force on the planet, although now our stockpiles are nearly depleted. So this gives countries like China and Russia and North Korea an opportunity, a golden opportunity, to do things that they would never have thought about doing 6 months ago. So we're in a bad situation. Things are much, much, much worse globally than they were on February 28th.
Bob, we spent billions, if not trillions of dollars given to Ukraine. I remember when the Democrats didn't want no more killing in Palestine, but they wanted to funnel millions of dollars in ammunition and military equipment to Ukraine so there could be more killing there. And I said to you, Bob, make sense. You want the killing?
None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. It didn't make sense then, and what he's doing now makes no sense. Makes zero sense. And it's costing us billions of dollars. Thank you for your call. It's 9:24. Bob Joseph, on your side, America. I support lower gas prices. I call for peace. And I want America to be unified. That's my platform. Make America happy again by listening to WNBF. Official time check, it's 9:27. At the sound of the boop. Boop. Boop.
The following is paid for by KSO Insurance Solutions.
Karen Sweet O'Neill joins us now live.
Hi, Bob.
Hey. Step right up. Step right up with a preview of tomorrow's episode.
I will.
Tomorrow's
Okay.
episode.
So tomorrow we're going to talk about a man that retired at 65 years old. He had a comfortable nest egg, and he decided he was going to keep his employer health plan through COBRA because the coverage was good, Bob. It was familiar to him, and it was pretty generous as far as what they were paying. So he let the 18 months run out on COBRA. Then he goes to apply for Medicare Part B, and then he gets a letter with a premium a lot higher than the standard rate and a special little note that the surcharge is going to stay on his bill for life. So this was not a good note, okay? And we're going to talk about how to avoid that because that was the Part B late enrollment penalty. And many people are not aware that COBRA is not recognized by Medicare as credible coverage. We are at 1708 Vestal Parkway East, up above Plato's Closet and Style Encore. You can reach us several ways for an appointment. You can simply give us a call at 607-772-4898. You can also Google us at KSO Insurance. And all our contact information comes up, including our website. You may make an appointment that way. Or if you missed a phone number, we are at 607-772-4898.
Lovely. Lovely. And I will speak with you tomorrow morning at approximately 9:20.
Excellent. Have a great day. Thanks, Bob.
Bye-bye. All right, there you go. It's official. Karen Sweet O'Neill will be calling in tomorrow morning at about 9:20. 607-772-1290. What is on your mind? Gas prices? Yeah. $1.03 higher than they were before he started the war. Food prices? Yeah. Higher than they were before February 28th. Cost of a quarter pounder with cheese and delicious, healthy bacon? Higher. Price of Moxie? Higher. Price of lamb speedies? Higher. Price of lettuce? Don't even ask. So there you go. That's it in a nutshell. Now look, I understand many of the arguments being made for this war. I do understand your arguments in favor of the war. I just happen to disagree because I'm making a cost-benefit analysis. That sometimes you have to take a couple of steps back and look at the bigger picture and understand that there are 8 billion people on the planet, and now billions of people are suffering who weren't suffering 6 months ago. And primarily because of the decision to start the war. Lots of people have been killed. Lots of people, including some fine American men and women who were serving their country. They were alive on February 28th. They are not today. The girls at that school who are trying to learn, young students trying to learn, trying to better themselves. They're just not alive now. Their teachers are dead too. School destroyed. So there you go. So there you go. Let's see. Let's go to Binghamton. And Matthew, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Bob. I'd like to just second what you were saying. Look, all wars are not equal. Unfortunately, war, everybody, I hope, thinks, well,
war is Halstead. It's right. Everybody knows war is not good. Even Donald Trump, on his worst day, probably would concede, at least off the air, war is not good.
Well, here's what happened. Well, don't forget, Russia, can make all the, Russia invaded Ukraine. I mean, that's different. And that's what makes. And now we are invading Iran, even though I agree with that it's horrible what they've done to their people. But like you said, calculations, it's easy to go in Venezuela. They're two different animals, and I'm not condoning that either. However, he thought he was going to have another Venezuela, and it didn't turn out that way. It was all about, trying to, something that people have been whispering in his ear for certain people for a long time. He thought if he could do something with Iran, that he would be, get that Nobel Peace Prize or something, which I don't understand when you have.
Maybe what he's gunning for is the NFL Peace Prize.
Well, that's right. He's already got the FIFA one. Now he's going to get the NFL. But, it's just so different. I mean, when Russia invaded, there's an alliance that was created a long time ago that if you start messing around with, countries right in Europe and close to Europe, it's going to be a different ballgame. It's not an equal playing field all over the world. And unfortunately, with this guy, the playing field's getting worse because of what he did in Iran. We're down to very small munitions left, and now, China's flexing its muscle.
Sure. So now Taiwan is vulnerable. Exactly. Other countries are vulnerable, and even though the president claims that he's got a good rapport with North Korea's leader, which kind of figures because so does Dennis Rodman, I rest my case. And again, look, I love Dennis Rodman as much as the next guy, and I respect the North Korean leader as much as the next guy, as much as he deserves to be respected. He deserves a little bit more respect at the moment than Putin, to be honest.
I still think my prediction is going to come true that the drone is going to get the Nobel Peace Prize because it's equalizing the playing field. I mean, if it wasn't for the drone, Ukraine would have probably fallen through.
Sure.
If it wasn't for drones, we probably could do what we want in the Middle East, but it's no longer.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the ironic thing now. These relatively cheap and easy to make drones are causing havoc for great countries like the U.S., who are used to having our way by spending billions or trillions of dollars. It's, if it weren't so serious, it would be almost funny.
It's kind of like, at the end of the day, even though War Games was about nuclear war, at the end of the day, let's just hope someday we realize that the only people that really profit from this are the people that make the weapons, and they're the ones that want to keep this stuff going.
Sure. You don't see anybody at Lockheed Martin or General Dynamics or Raytheon frowning today. At least, I'm not saying their rank and file workers are happy about the war, but the people who control these companies, the CEOs and the boards of directors and even the shareholders, are going to be laughing all the way to the banks.
And this is just the tail back to yesterday. Just imagine if we had a world where we spent all that money and research and development for improving people's lives, improving the way we deliver energy to people. And I mean, there's so much, most of the money spent in the world and from budgets of countries is getting, and more and more so, is military budget. Just imagine if we put that to good use. And,
sure. Poverty, homelessness, and crime would be a thing of the past in Binghamton if only a fraction of what's been squandered on the war were directed instead to the good people of the Parlor City. Appreciate your call. It's 9:36. I'm looking out for you, America. We want lower prices, and we want peace in our time. And we want AM radio in every car forever. 607-772-1290. I'm Bob Joseph. Tuesday morning, WNBF. 607-772-1290. If you call that number, see what happens. Who knows? Maybe it's some kind of scam. Or maybe it's your direct access to one of America's few live local talk shows. Here's the forecast from the National Weather Service. Some areas of fog still lingering around the Binghamton area this morning. Otherwise, a nice Tuesday ahead, mostly sunny, high 81, partly cloudy tonight, low 58. Sunny tomorrow, high 84. And there's a risk of sunshine on Thursday, a high risk. High 79, the risk of sun. Spin up sunshine. Right now, they say it's 69 in downtown Binghamton, 21 Celsius. Air quality appears to be good. 22, the air quality index. For those who like to drive into downtown Binghamton, wish you luck. They're doing a lot of paving. They're paving stuff and tearing stuff down. It's just remarkable how much it's a beehive of activity all around Binghamton, not just downtown. Look at all the stuff they've been doing. They were paved North Shore Drive and Riverside Drive and Main Street. They're doing downtown. It's the all-new Binghamton Plus. It's not just the Parlor City. It's the Parlor City and oh, so much more. How to start a promotional campaign for Binghamton. A couple of things you may notice at our website. That building on Front Street in Owego. I've been watching this building on Front Street in Owego, just east of the beautiful Libis Bridge. Tom Libis's bridge, the one that he built for Owego many years ago. The Senator Libis Bridge is there, and then just to the east, we have these historic buildings on Front Street. They're now available along with a couple of parcels right next to it. I have an idea for this site. I have a dream about what I would do with the site. I talked with one of the guys who is looking for a buyer, and I told him if I had $949,000, I would buy this because I have a dream. I know what I would do with it. I do know what I would do with it, but I'm going to tell you. I also pointed out to the guy, I said, as much as I would love to buy the buildings and that property between the buildings and the Senator Libis Bridge in Owego, since I don't have $1 million on hand, as they say, I'm sadly out of luck. On the other hand, if you've got $1 million and you want to buy the properties, I'll share my good idea. It's not just a good idea, it's a great idea. You can see more about that story at WNBF.com. Here's another story. Another story you apparently aren't going to see elsewhere. The Binghamton feed mill. Everybody sees the feed mill, but nobody does anything about it. Well, I finally did a story about Binghamton's feed mill. And what does the story report? The story provides some information about the expansion of the Purdue agribusiness feed mill on Montgomery Street, not far from where the big chair used to be. Remember Grandpa's big chair before they burned the place down? So anyway, the feed mill is going to be expanded. Some people are saying, but Bob, I didn't even know that was a feed mill. I just thought that was a big thing. Maybe they were going to launch rockets for SpaceX, which when you look at it up close, I went over there Monday afternoon to take some pictures and video for the story about the expansion of the feed mill. And I looked at it, I thought, if Elon Musk ever wants a launching site in the Northeast, this would be ideal. Plus, it's close to the new pizza place. New York Pizzeria could provide delicious food. They could even do like a SpaceX special. Every time Elon Musk tried to blow up one of his rockets, they could have a special hot pie for that. The explosive deal. Unfortunately, SpaceX isn't going to be doing any business in New York State. Ever. I don't think Elon Musk and Kathy Hochul like each other. It's my sense. I have no way to prove it, but I get the sense that Hochul and Musk would not hit it off. Unless he gave her a lot of money for a re-election campaign, then they could be friends. Oh, come on in.
Hey, Bob.
Hi.
How you doing?
Well, good.
We know we're
Well, yeah, you're early, but come on in.
we didn't want to be late.
Well, let's
for us to wait for you.
let's do it now.
It's like you're gonna record it and.
No, this is live.
Oh.
We're on the air, so watch your language.
Okay.
I can say what I want because I have a button to push. So, have you ever been? You haven't been here at the studio, have you?
Never.
All right.
How
All
are
right.
you?
Well, I'm good. So you're on the radio now. Speak into the microphone.
Good morning, Bob.
Hi. I love it. Well, I wasn't expecting you to attend, but this is okay.
No, we can do.
No, we can do it now.
Okay.
Remember, who is that guy? Rodney Dangerfield?
Yes.
No, it was Pee Wee Herman who famously said, listen to this guy. And you tell me if this doesn't sound like Pee Wee Herman. The guy, Pee Wee Herman grew up in Oneonta.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Paul Rubens.
Yeah, Paul Rubens, and sadly we've lost him, but he gave us plenty to laugh about in the time he was with us. Listen to what Pee Wee Herman once said on TV.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Pee Wee Herman.
There you
He
go.
wanted to do it live, so we'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
So something big is happening for people who grew up in Endwell, Maine Endwell.
That is correct.
All right. So introduce yourselves. You're on the radio live. This is your big opportunity. I don't care who you can go first. Introduce yourself.
My name is Marissa Alberti, and actually the event is not just for people from Endwell. It's open to anyone in the public who would like to join us. It's a fundraiser for our Maine Endwell Alumni Scholarship Fund.
Okay, that's right. I forgot. It's been a few weeks since I actually was.
It benefits
Maine
Endwell.
Yeah.
But anyone can
Near and
show.
dear to my heart, by the way.
Yes, it should be.
All right, and you better introduce yourself.
And I'm Melody Keener, and I'm on the committee along with Marissa to chair this fundraiser that we're
It's going to be coming up pretty soon.
September 11th.
All right. And give our listeners an overview about what the money, you already touched on it, what this money raised at the fundraiser is going to be used for.
So the Maine Endwell Alumni Scholarship Program offers 3.5 scholarships. The half scholarship is known as the Hometown Heroes, and it's co-sponsored with 2 American Legion posts and goes to the child of a hometown hero, someone who is a veteran. And then there are 3 other scholarships that are offered through the program. The Charles R. Miller Public Service Scholarship, named after the first principal of Maine Endwell, and offered for those interested in a career in public service. There's a vocational trade and certification scholarship for those seeking careers in vocational trades. And then there's the STEAM scholarship, which is science, technology. Let's see, what does EAM stand for?
I used to know.
I used to know. It's STEM, including arts. So science, technology,
Education.
And macaroni.
and math.
Oh, macaroni.
Macaroni. There you
And
go.
cheese.
So we offer 1 STEAM scholarship, 2 vocational scholarships, the Public Service Leadership Scholarship, and then the Hometown Hero Scholarship that we share with the American Legion posts. So all the money raised will go to those scholarships that are offered each year to a graduating senior of Maine Endwell.
All right. And so the fundraiser, as you said, will be September 11th, on the evening of September 11th. Tell us about the specifics, what people need to know as far as location and so on.
So it's September 11th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's going to be held at Endwell Greens on Sally Piper Road in Endwell. We have dinner, entertainment by brothers and friends from 6 to 10. There will be a cash bar. It'll be $25 a person. We do have flyers on the website for the committee. We'll share that here in just a moment. And we'll have the menu so far: Speedy's pulled pork.
Ooh, Speedies.
Salt potatoes, salads, and desserts.
Right,
Speedies.
right.
And in addition to the entertainment and the food, there will be raffles for prizes and a 50-50 raffle to continue to raise money for the scholarship.
All right. And as you pointed out, you don't have to be like me. You didn't have to go to Homer Brink School. I mean, all the good kids went to Homer Brink.
All the good kids
Yeah.
went to Maine Endwell.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I didn't go to Homer Brink.
Yeah.
I went to the
You-
one on Country Club Road that's
Oh.
now the Visions.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, many, many, many decades ago, they called it Endwell Elementary School. So I went to Homer Brink, then Hooper School, then Endwell Elementary, and then because of some sort of misunderstanding between the Maine Endwell School Administration, they shipped me off to UE. And I had to finish my educational career over to UE because of some sort of misunderstanding. I think Walt Lebrecki was involved. I'm kidding. I know people are saying, Bob, is that true? No. The only part that's true is I spent the most important education in my life was in Maine Endwell, and then I finished up at Union Endicott. And, but that's what made me, basically, I mean, the fact that I had a Mrs. Blackwell, a kindergarten teacher. She's the one who brought in the Sun Bulletin every day when I was a little punk, and she let me bring the Sun Bulletin home And I read it to my mom, and that's how I started auditioning to do news. So it's thanks to Mrs. Blackwell, and also thanks to my mom for teaching me how to read before I got to kindergarten, and the rest is history.
And here you are.
And there, and I just won't leave.
Well,
try as they might.
It's going to be a fun event, and it's on several Facebook pages. The Endwell community chat. There's one, I can't remember them all right now. I'm sure several people have seen it out there.
Yeah.
I'll look up the sites.
Yeah, just look it up. I'll tell you what, if you Google it, the Maine Endwell Alumni Scholarship Fundraiser, get all the information. Now, I know you want people to make their reservations by September 1st?
By September 1st. We just upgraded our flyers. We have a QR code. So you can scan it and pay by that. Or you can. There's various flyers around in different businesses down in Endwell and Endicott. You just fill out the registration form.
Did they ever figure out something to do with that old McDonald's? I want to turn that old McDonald's where Hooper School used to be, I want to turn that into a Lamb's Beatty Shack.
Well, let's do it.
All right. I'm going to call. Problem is, the people that run it, own the property, McDonald's, they won't allow another food operation to go there. So that's the stumbling block. That's why it's still empty after all these years.
Oh.
It'd be a perfect place for a Lamb's Beatty Shack, but McDonald's won't let a good person like me or better people like you to run your own Lamb's Beatty Shack there because they don't, for some reason, they don't want food competition, but they don't have a McDonald's anywhere near there.
No.
Makes no sense. But anyway, thanks for coming in. And again, the Maine Endwell Scholarship, the Alumni Scholarship Fundraiser will be September 11th, and people can Google the information, or did you want to also give out an email address?
Well, you can check. We have a website for the Maine Endwell Alumni Scholarship Fund program itself. So if you just Google ME Alumni Scholarship Program, the website will come up that explains about the Alumni Scholarship. But in order to register, you might want to check Maine Endwell Alumni Past, Present, and Future on Facebook or the Endwell community page. Or if you have any friends who went to Maine Endwell, it may be posted to their pages. Check my page or Melody's page.
And we just have a bulletin from Anthony in Endwell who makes it crystal clear what this STEAM stands for. Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Math. It has nothing to do with macaroni and cheese.
Nothing to do with macaroni and cheese.
But maybe someday it will.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yes, thank you, Anthony. Thanks for your information. He provides lots of information.
And again, it's open to anyone. You don't have to be a Endwell resident or a Maine Endwell alumni. Anyone is welcome to attend the event.
All right. Go Spartans.
Go Spartans.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
It's 9:55. WNBF Live.
Peel out with Manny's W221EJ, Binghamton. News, stimulating talk, 92.1 and 1290, and now 93.9. News Radio WNBF. Bob Joseph.
Now I've been happy lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world is wide, and I
News Radio WNBF. Oh, here's a good one. The ABC is suing the FCC, claiming First Amendment violations. So ABC, that ABC, sued the Federal Communications Commission today, alleging its review of the broadcast licenses operated by the American broadcasting companies is unconstitutional. Under the First Amendment, the FCC is accused of waging a retaliatory campaign against one of America's very best networks. Wow, that's big. I'm Bob Joseph.
News, talk, and information for Binghamton and Central New York. This is News Radio WNBF Binghamton, a Town Square media station.
Beverly from the town of Dickinson. Good morning.
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
I am well.
I was talking to your you're the one that takes the calls. He's a nice person.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah. So, when do you think this war is going to end, Bob?
Not anytime soon.
Well, the more that we're in there, Bob, the harder it's going to get for people. Even my niece's great grandson, he enlisted in the Navy, but I hate to see him go to war and not come home either.
Well, hopefully everything will work out well, but unfortunately, the way things stand at the moment, the war doesn't seem like it's going to end soon. I think it's time, honestly, Beverly, I think it's time for the American people to send a compelling message to the White House and let the White House and President Trump know that the war has to be ended.
And he has no business trying to get names. That Kennedy Center, I think that was named after John F. Kennedy, wasn't it? The president.
Yeah, it was to honor the legacy of a president who was assassinated in 1963. So anybody,
I remember that.
So anybody who wants to tarnish the memory of JFK, well, I'm not going to finish the sentence. You know what I'm thinking.
Oh. I was coming back from Burbank, California, and I was down there visiting a relative, and just got on a plane in Texas, and they called us off, and when they had like these, I don't know, like these barracks or whatever you want to call them, and we had to stand in between them and stuff. They treated us. Everybody was scared. I didn't know what was happening until somebody said that the president was shot. So we had to stay there about an hour. Then finally we got on the TWA to come home. So.
Well, it was a terrible time. Terrible.
Yeah.
Just
but
one of the darkest moments in American history.
He wants to run in 2028. I don't think people are going to vote for him.
I think they will. I think a lot of our viewers would vote for him in 2028, 2032, 2036, 2040, 2044, 2048. He could live forever. He could shock the world. He could be the first president who lives to be 120.
Well, I doubt.
What if he's president for life?
Well, I don't know about that.
There's nothing that can stop him. That's why he wants to build that bunker. You know, the thing where he tore down the east wing of the White House so he could build his bunker? That's so nobody can get him out. That's why there's urgency that he gets the bunker built.
It was supposed to be a ballroom.
That was the cover story. The truth is he wants a fortified bunker so nobody, and I mean nobody, will ever get him out.
Oh, I thought that was for a ballroom.
No. He doesn't need of all the things this guy doesn't need. He doesn't need a ballroom, but he does think he needs some kind of fortified bunker. So when his time to leave public housing, when they come to actually evict him, that he won't leave.
Well, I'm 83 years old, and I think I've seen enough of war, and I just wish that it would stop. I mean,
hey, you and me both. But here's what you have to do, Beverly. Here's what you have to do: send a telegram to the White House. Let them know where you stand, and if they get enough telegrams from people like you that they want the war over, maybe he'll actually end it.
Bob, I was if the Lord come down here, how would they act? That's what I wish that he'd come down.
Yeah, I know how some people would act.
You know, I wish that he'd come down, and I like to see the look on these people's faces when he comes down.
But some people, you know how I'm not going to mention how some people would act. You know how they would act.
You know, but I just wish it would stop because it's not fair. We're wasting money when we could be using it right here.
Right here in Binghamton or in the town of Dickinson. Yeah. Why can't they send some of the billions that have been squandered on the war and send it to the town of Dickinson to build a new community center?
Why can't they share it with the whole United States and this $2,000 thing that he's been promising out? We're never going to get it.
We can't get it because we're too much in debt. He can't be sending out $2,000 checks. We don't have the money.
No, but yet he can send money. He can get money for war.
Yeah, that's the way he is. It's strange priorities. I appreciate your call. Hope you have a good day.
You too.
It's 1019 WNBF. Yeah. His priorities, trust me, are not my priorities. I would not prioritize war over helping the American people who are in desperate need, those who are unhoused, those who are hungry, those who are living in poverty, those who face mental health challenges or substance abuse disorder. I would direct more money into programs that help American people instead of a so-called War Department that is causing unspeakable pain and chaos in a troubled world. That's what I would do. 607-772-1290. I'm Bob Joseph. We're just trying to get our priorities straight on this Tuesday morning. WNBF and WNBF.com. Thank you for spending some of your day with us. I hope you can make it a daily habit. It's a healthy habit, unlike eating all those half-pounders, one after another, and then washing it down with Diet Moxie and thinking that somehow that makes it all better. No, don't kid yourself. Limit yourself to 1 half-pounder a month, unless otherwise directed. Well, Doc, do you think I could have 2 half-pounders this weekend? No. Why not have a healthy salad? But, Doc, what are you trying to do? Kill me? What's up, Doc? Indeed. So here's what we were mentioning a few minutes ago. ABC, a Mickey Mouse operation because it's owned by Walt Disney Company. ABC has just sued the FCC. ABC accusing the commission of waging a retaliatory campaign against the legendary broadcasting organization because the Trump administration disapproves of its programming. The lawsuit has just been filed in federal district court in Washington. This represents a sharp escalation of a big feud between the FCC, run by Trump appointee Brendan Carr, and ABC. This story has been posted at WAPO.com. WAPO.com. The Washington Post. The clash kicked off when Mr. Carr criticized comments made by the funny man Jimmy Kimmel in the aftermath of a terrible event. And Carr said, when you see stuff like this, I mean, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. That's what the commissioner told a podcast host last September. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. Now, in the past, you would never, ever have expected an FCC commissioner to use that kind of language, even in private, let alone public. The FCC has investigated the ABC and the Disney company which is also named as a plaintiff in the lawsuit over diversity practices and whether its fabulous talk show called The View, starring Binghamton's own Sunny Hostin. I don't know. Hostin. I do know her name is Sunny because she's so bright. She went to Binghamton. Like Hakeem Jeffries and like the woman who runs the Progressive insurance companies. Anyway, so they were investigating The View because apparently something they said on The View they didn't like. In April, the FCC ordered a review of the 8 broadcast licenses owned by Disney, which include ABC stations in big places like New York and Philadelphia, home of the Action News, because of concerns about diversity policies. ABC's lawsuit is asking a federal judge to halt the review of its licenses on the grounds that it violates the First Amendment. I think I know how the court is going to rule. That's what I think I know. We'll see. We'll see if this is the real America or if this is a pale imitation of the USA that I grew up in. It's 10:26. Let's head out to Windsor. Nick, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, this is Nick from Windsor with Windsor Paul, too, but he's out in Endicott now, and I live in Binghamton, but I built a small lake out here. You know, I'm using hydroelectric to supply batteries, and we always go back to 2017 with the hydroelectric project for Rock Bottom Dam, and I think that's a good place for Gowdy Station. And now things have changed since 2017 with these megawatt batteries that they're using for storage. So you can imagine if we took all these megawatt batteries and we hooked them in a series to make, let's say, a 10 megawatt system or something like that, we could supply almost 10,000 homes, Bob, with electricity. And these 2 megawatt generators, right, will take 3 minutes to half an hour to charge up with a 2 megawatt battery. So you can always put a supply system into these batteries to supply electricity and store it when you have 24/7 electricity going, Bob. And at nighttime, you don't use enough electricity. And so therefore, we can charge up these batteries to full capacity. But yet, nobody doesn't want to go look into this kind of system. And this generator I'm talking about, it's only the size of a sewer pipe, Bob. We can connect it to the waste treatment system.
Well,
okay?
it was looked into 9 years ago. I'm looking at the big story. It was on the front page of the Press and the Sun Bulletin in March 2017. It says Rock Bottom Dam to produce electricity, ? Project could cost less than $10 million. City of Binghamton is advancing plans for a hydroelectric project for Rock Bottom Dam on the Susquehanna River. And it's right there. It's a huge front page, a beautiful front page, back when all the newspaper front pages were assembled right here in Broome County by local people.
You know, I'm just a small person in Binghamton, and I don't have any words because I asked my councilman about it. I asked the mayor about it, and they say, what? We don't know nothing about that. And my
Jared Cram must know something about it because he was the deputy mayor when this all happened, wasn't he?
Exactly. And he didn't know a thing about it.
Well, he must. He has to, because he was working in City Hall then. In this story here by Hannah Schwartz, Binghamton wants to explore building a hydroelectric power station at Rock Bottom Dam to generate up to half of the city's government's power needs. So City Council will consider legislation to authorize Gravity Renewables, Colorado company, to begin a feasibility study so we could produce delicious, nutritious power affordably.
And can you imagine now we hook these up to these batteries? We can do all of Binghamton.
I know.
Treatment plant, the college, we can do all these. And that's our tax money.
I know.
Our own electric bill, what the city's electric bill is, with all the traffic lights and the sensors and the pumps and the, oh my God, it's mind-boggling.
I know, my mind is boggled too, especially because I'm looking at the front page. It's a beautiful front page. Andrew Thayer took the picture of the Rock Bottom Dam. It was a locally generated story. It says Gravity Renewables will fully fund construction and will own the hydroelectric station and the power it produces. The company will enter into a long-term contract to sell the power to the city. The station will produce power only for city government, and the city will not sell any of the power produced. That's probably because they didn't want to get into a big fight with NYSEG.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying?
Something to do with it? Yep.
Well, it doesn't say so in the article. It's just my gut feeling.
Better.
You know, Ready Kilowatt doesn't want somebody to start making cheaper electricity. That's my theory. Now, obviously, if somebody from NYSEG wants to call in and do some pushback, hey, that's why we have extra phone lines. We have backup lines so people can push back.
Well, as a contractor myself, I think the city can go in and go ahead and do it itself, because I did the pricing for the generator and the concrete building and the piping and the batteries, what they cost. And you can do that for about $8 million. Even with the batteries cost $100,000 each, another $100,000 to install them. You know, you get 10 of them, you know, a couple $1 million. But then again, people are getting free electricity.
Yeah.
Well, you want to call it free because we got to pay that $10 million back.
Yeah, but sounds like it ought to work.
Yeah, if up among 10,000 households, $10 million is really nothing every month to pay for 20 years, because that's how long these generators last.
Well, that's a fraction. Look, the Water Street parking garage, which already is failing, the elevator won't work. The walkway between the parking garage and Boscov's won't work. And I'm thinking, what a time for the elevator not to work and for the big connecting thing between the parking garage and Boscov's. This is how we're welcoming back the students. I mean, I would think, if anything, you'd want the elevator to work and the walkway to Boscov's. Can you imagine how much stuff Boscov's could sell to the students and their parents this week?
There you go. But, you know, they're doing all that construction around there, too. And,
which it needs to be done. I'm grateful they're doing it. And they're now at the paving phase over on Water Street and Henry Street. I think by the end of the week, it's going to look pretty nice. Only for the DOT to start their magic work over on State Street, making accessibility to downtown darn near impossible. But, hey, at least stuff is getting done. And
there you go.
You know, it's
progress.
Yeah. And so, yes, I'll use this forum on live radio to gripe about occasional delays, because that's what talk show hosts are supposed to do. You know, just to make it sound like I'm a man of the people, when in fact, honestly, I don't care if I'm stuck in traffic. Why would I care? You know, it's like, what else am I going to do? I'm here just covering the news. So if I'm stuck, it's like yesterday on the 17. You know, I get stuck in a traffic jam. Everybody else around me is snarling and flipping each other off. And I just roll down the windows and put the car in park, and I'm saying, it's a beautiful day. This is mid-August. Where are you going in such a hurry? And I'm thinking most of these people are going home just to watch Action News. And it's like, oh, please.
Well, I'm going to tell your viewers out there that, you know, I've been out there in Charlotte, driving down through there and everything, and I'm grateful when I come back to here that I can drive to Binghamton, to Endicott or Vestal and not really have a problem, okay?
It's true. We don't know how spoiled we are. Hey, thanks for your call. I'm on your side about the hydro project.
Well, thank you, Bob, because you know what you said yesterday. If you found some way we can go out there and make something, you'll write a letter about it. So you got a bigger voice than I do, buddy.
Hey, thanks.
Make your promises. Hold your promise, Bob.
when I'm mayor, I have a vision. I have a vision to make the Parlor City gleam again. Hey, have a great day.
Yep. All your representative. That's the word for hydroelectric out there.
Thanks. Oh, I love it. 607-772-1290 with the Real program for real radio lovers. And no, I'm not running for anything. I think I'm doing well. I'm doing what I do here. I think so. Is it a true public service? Kinda. I'm not saying that we can fix everything, but we can certainly talk about ways to make things better. So what's on your mind? Do you have an opinion? Please, if you have an opinion, make a call if you dare. Oh, by the way, take a look at WNBF.com. We have great local reporting, local and regional stories, and some intriguing features. Every once in a while, I'll look at a feature and be intrigued. See, how do they do it? WNBF.com.
So you hear.
And 607-772-1290. Do-do-do-do. Da-da-da-da. All right. We were talking about this concept of reducing energy prices in New York. It came up on the program on Monday. I stand by my statement. Energy prices in New York State will never come down. I know some people beg to differ. So anyway, I received a call from an avid listener, and he noted state legislation, PSC mandates are tied together and make up about 31% of the cost of the NYSEG residential electric charge. And he sent me some information he found online. NYSERDA operates with a multi-billion-dollar budget. It scales up yearly, rising from $1.4 billion in 2023 to a projected $2.2 billion in 2025. Its major funding framework, the Clean Energy Fund, alongside initiatives like the Clean Energy Initiative for affordable housing, drive statewide energy efficiency, green jobs, and carbon reduction. So it's, according to this, a solution. Path forward is to repeal some legislation associated with clean energy in order to reduce utility rates. Thank you, sir, for the information. But I still maintain, because this is New York State, controlled by Democrats, obviously Bruce Blakeman potentially could be elected governor, and in January he can prove to us that he was telling the truth in his ads when he talked about reducing energy costs by more than half, or I can't remember the specifics. I'll listen to or look at it on his website. Again, Bruce Blakeman can say whatever he wants. Bruce Blakeman is governor, even if he's elected governor in November and remains governor for the next 50 years, in my opinion, is not going to reduce New York energy costs. Now, he can say it all he wants. Remember, he has to work with a legislature that's controlled by Democrats. So, well, of course, the Republicans could regain control of the state Senate. Yeah, what decade do you think that'll be, or what century? You know, Republicans should have retained control of the Senate. They had control of the Senate for years. Remember Floyd Anderson, Warren Anderson, Tom Libas? Remember all of them? They had control of the state Senate. Then they lost it. And at this point, it doesn't appear that they're ever going to regain control of the state Senate. And of course, state assembly it's going to always be controlled by Democrats. Look at the demographics in New York State. So, hey, Bruce Blakeman. By the way, Bruce Blakeman, give me a call. Isn't it interesting? The election, believe it or not, is coming up in less than 3 months, and Bruce Blakeman, the Republican candidate, hasn't even called into the program. Kathy Hochul, I understand, because she's busy. She's busy cheering on the Bills, as we all should. And what a great stadium that she built. But, and what a great performance by our Bills on Sunday. So they're off at the new stadium, off to a good start. But as far as Bruce Blakeman, seems like he ought to have time in his busy schedule, hobnobbing with President Trump, to call into the program, I don't know, maybe once a month or something before the election. I know, I get it. If he wanted to call in, he would have called in. What else is going on here? Let me check out Times-Union in Albany. Sometimes they come up with some interesting New York State stories. Sometimes they do. And sometimes they don't. Let's see. I may have to look into that. Oh, here's one. Appeals court decision reopens federal lawsuit against former Troy officer. Ruling reverses a decision to dismiss a lawsuit accusing the former officer of witness coercion in a 1990s case. So, hard to say what's going on there, but that's according to Jesse Taylor. Jesse Taylor has the story on the Times-Union website. Some strange things are going on here in New York State, folks. And I think they're going to get even stranger before the end of the year. A federal appeals court has ruled that a man's lawsuit accusing a former Troy police sergeant of violating his constitutional rights should not have been dismissed. So the ruling puts that case back on track for a trial in U.S. District Court, according to the Albany Times-Union. So if you want to see more relevant details about the case, you can look it up on the timesunion.com website. It's 10:44 at WNBF. Oh, Dave from Vestal. Apparently he saw something good on TV. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Yeah, Bob.
Did you see something good on TV?
Yes, sir, I did. And it was last night. I wanted to share it with you because I was taken aback a bit. I think News Nation, Leland Vitter, I think he listens to your show, Bob, because he came on last night, first segment. He got right into it. And it sounded just like me last week. Exact wording, Bob. Exact wording. He said, is the country ready for a third party? Remember me saying that last week? He came on and I couldn't believe it. And Bob, he had a couple guests on, and that was the topic. He had a couple guests on, one from the left, one from the right, and he took them both on. They both said, no, we're not. But he made a case that we were. And it was pretty interesting, Bob. And, you know, same thing I was saying, both sides dissatisfied with their parties. Nothing gets done, always stalemate. People run to their corners. They don't vote on hardly anything to get anything done. But what he did say, Bob, is that given that the country is almost half registered independent, he says there should be a lane for someone to lead from the center, Bob. And I guess it would be possible. And think about it, Bob. If someone were to run for president and be voted in, he gave some names. Matter of fact, he put some pictures up. He had like Glenn Youngkin and Manchin and Fetterman, people like that, that were possibilities. But in Congress, Bob, they would be free to vote. If you had someone from the center as president, they would be free. They wouldn't be so loyal to their party. He believes that they would actually do the work of the people and vote. I just found it interesting.
Well, it's interesting, but it comes up every 4 years. It's always interesting because in August, what else are they going to report about?
I know.
It's the same old thing over and over again. It's recycled.
I know.
And it's like it sounds appealing, except everybody concedes it'll never happen. Not in our lifetime. Not in our lifetime.
Maybe
I'm not
not in our lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, will it happen in the next 250 years? I don't know. Could be. Makes no difference to me. I don't care. I don't care if it happens in 100 years. No difference to me. If it happens the next 25 or 30 years, I guess maybe I would care. It's not going to happen.
We can say it's not going to happen, Bob, but never say never, because you just never know.
Well, that's true. I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again. Heck, I'm probably going to be wrong again before noon. But that doesn't mean what I'm saying here isn't true. We'll just say, as Donald Trump would say, it's highly unlikely I had to edit part of that. It's highly unlikely. I can't speak like the president, or else I'd have the commission all over my case.
Bob, it's time that Congress votes what's best for us and not for their party. Don't you think it's about time?
It doesn't matter what we think. What? You make it sound like members of Congress are listening to the program. They don't. Although I will say, I've caught Josh Riley listening a couple of times. Occasionally when he's in the car, he'll actually listen to the program if he's going from one place to another in the district. So I do give him credit. So there's a possibility. It is kind of a delicious possibility that one member of Congress is listening. So if he's listening, maybe he'll call in. He has done it before, so who knows? He might have a real-time response if he's tuned in.
There's another guy that has the ability to govern from the center, Bob.
Well,
there's another one.
I was going to say he ought to hang out with that Fetterman.
No, Bob. We can laugh at him all we want, but you know what?
Who?
Fetterman.
I'm not laughing at Fetterman. I'm laughing with him.
But all that he went through, Bob, in his.
Look, I admire him. I admire the guy. He is truly an American.
Well, common sense, Bob.
I didn't say common sense, but he is an American, and he's effectively our neighbor. He's from Pennsylvania, he claims. So there's that. Pennsylvania, the same place where Penn State is running cocaine trafficking operations. Did you see that? What the heck?
I did.
Some of my best friends went to Penn State. I didn't know. It's no wonder. That explains. Now it puts a couple of things in context. Am I right? Am I right?
You're right, Bob. You're right.
I have to watch out because I have a friend who's, he listens sometimes outside Harrisburg. He's probably listening now and saying, "Don't you tell that about my wife." It's like, I'm not talking about your wife. I would never on the air. And he's like, Stop. I see what you're doing. Stop it, buddy boy. I do have to take a trip down and see them. They're good people. And anyway, no, trust me, when she was going to Penn State, none of that stuff. They didn't tolerate cocaine trafficking there. Something changed. I think ever since they got rid of, who was that coach? Joe Pa.
Paterno?
Now my friend is really incensed. He's like, don't you keep making, now we're sad. They're not just sad, they're angered. They're being, don't you bring up all these sore spots. You're rubbing salts into the wound. And it's like, what? Who, me?
He's the one that had that assistant coach.
Let's not go there, sister. Hey, it's all over. It's all over, buddy.
It's all over. Okay.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Yep. Take care.
Last time I was in State College, none of that was going on. When I went down to visit AccuWeather with the good old days with Dave Dombeck and Joe Snowball and Scott Chesner, the Ches. Remember the Ches? And who else was there? Oh, the big guy. That's back before AccuWeather moved to their multi-billion-dollar high-tech facility. That's back when they were a relatively small operation before they took over the weather world. But those were the innocent days in State College. Cocaine trafficking was not going to be tolerated at the Penn State campus. But times change. According to this story, it says 14 people, including 13 current or former Penn State University students, have been charged with running a huge cocaine trafficking ring. They used fraternity pledges to cut and package drugs as part of their hazing ritual. So I don't care what happens at SUNY Binghamton. Nothing like that, as far as I know. At least I don't think. Wouldn't that be? It's like, oh yeah, turns out the same thing's happening in Vestal. No, it's not. No, they have rules. I know the people over at SUNY Binghamton. They have rules against it. It's 10:53. I'm Bob Joseph on your Tuesday morning, WNBF. It's 10:56, ABC News Radio. Coming up, 4 minutes with more. big-time stuff. Looking at the Penn State website, I see nothing on the homepage that responds. It says latest news. There's no response to the cocaine trafficking allegations. And this is so typical of universities. Have you noticed? No matter what happens, if you look at the homepage of every university, they under the latest news category, they have no reference to the big story. So the latest news, well, the rest of the world is talking about cocaine trafficking in State College. These are the top news stories at the Penn State website. Penn State awarded $20 million. That's a big clown check to lead a cloud laboratory. Also, Penn State scientist to lead 3 Genesis mission projects. Here's one, $2.8 million grant to study effects of PFAS on the gut microbiome. And Penn State breaks fundraising records, accelerates campaign momentum. So sadly, they're unable or unwilling to talk about the elephant in the room. And I'm clicking through to other news. You would think they would have some kind of prominent response, like, we were shocked. We were shocked when the Attorney General told us that we had people who were doing cocaine trafficking on campus. Shocked, I tell you. From accounting major and frat brother to suspected of being Penn State's largest drug dealer. I think universities ought to just be more transparent. Here's a guy, he's accused of using pledges and other members to help package and move kilos of cocaine. I'm looking here. I figure at least some of these people must be from Vestal, don't you think? I'm not saying they have anything to do with SUNY Binghamton. I'm saying some must be from Vestal or Endwell, don't you think? But I don't know. I'm looking for hometowns. It wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised if I find out at least some of these cocaine traffickers have ties to Broome County. I know you're saying, oh, Bob, you just want that so you could have a local angle. No, I don't want it. I just figure that because of all the people in Broome County that go to Penn State, you would think. Oh, here's a statement. I didn't see it on the website, but ABC News has it on their website. A statement on the investigation from Penn State. After we learned of these serious allegations, Penn State is placing Delta Upsilon on interim suspension. Isn't that what John Belushi was facing when he was busy packaging cocaine in his Animal House? We are horrified by these serious allegations against current and former students, said a person reading a statement that was written by AI. Criminal activity, including hazing such as this, has no place at our institution, and we will cooperate with law enforcement in any way we can. All these statements, don't they always sound alike? They sound like they're written by the same really bad AI program. So detached. Unlike me. I'm Bob Joseph.
News, talk, and information for Binghamton and Central New York. This is News Radio, WNBF, Binghamton, a Town Square media station.
You may have heard that the Bundy Museum on Binghamton's west side is going to be closing temporarily. There was an announcement in recent days because of the challenges of a rapidly changing world and the financial struggles that the Bundy Museum has been facing. They are planning to be closed temporarily. They say they will undertake a comprehensive reorganization and downsizing. The directors, staff, and volunteers in the announcement said they deeply regret after 22 years that they must announce the temporary closure of the Bundy House and the suspension of tours, programs, services, and activities. Joining us now in the studio to talk about the Bundy Museum of History and Arts is John Darrow. Good morning.
Morning, Bob.
Well, thanks for joining us. Usually we're talking about things that are a bit happier. I'm glad that you got in touch with me to join us and talk about this development. And I will say, unfortunately, I wasn't shocked to hear this news because I know in the last few years the Bundy Museum has faced challenges, and I had not heard anything in recent weeks to suggest that the challenges had all been addressed. So although it's disappointing, again, I wouldn't call it a shock. Tell me a little bit, going way back to more than 2 decades ago.
So if we stretch our imagination back 22 years, Mr. Weinstein, Mike, very, very dear friend of mine for about 40 years, a gentleman I both really like and respect a lot, was looking to start a shop and perhaps a little historical area for people to visit. And I was the one that located the Bundy House. It was the old Fairview Arts and Crafts House. I had always somehow in my imagination thought that I would reside there. When that proved not to be the case and Mr. Hull put it up for sale, I said, Mike, this is the building you want. Get down there now. He went down that afternoon and he made a deal before he left to purchase the property. That being said, I kind of feel like I am one of the founders. If you do go through the museum, and the anticipation is to be reopened to the public in the not too distant future, we just have to do some financial restructuring. But if you do go through the museum, the mansion, and you're on the second floor and you see the little list of names, it is not with any small sense of pride that I'm the fourth name on that list. The Bundy is near and dear to my heart. It is wonderful for the community, and it is probably the most immersive and interactive facility of its kind in the county. Robertson does wonderful things, and they're out there, and they have people over, and they do great. Phelps Mansion, the Kilmer, so many of our other organizations are doing great things. But virtually every week, the Bundy has something going on, be it bands for the youth to come out to play, be it poetry night, be it history night, be it open mic night, comedy night. There are things going on virtually every day at the Bundy, and it is always open to the public. It's an amazing institution. It is a historical collection of artifacts that predate and include IBM because Mr. Bundy invented the time machine. He invented the time recording clock, which when it was reorganized, it became International Business Machine.
I'm looking at, I think it's the first major newspaper feature about the Bundy, and the newspaper printed this in November 2003, a new kind of historic museum. It shows Michael inside the house, Queen Anne-style house at 129 Main Street, and it's a fascinating article that really introduced to the people of the Binghamton area what his vision was and what the vision was for the people who were founding the Bundy.
Yeah, magnificent structure. The Bundy, and what has led to our temporary crisis is that 90% of all funding that sustained the Bundy was from Mr. Weinstein. And he had suffered a very, very difficult financial setback in the past couple of years, which they did a minor reorganization from. It is now to the point where it is becoming more difficult to maintain the level of services that the Bundy has provided, and they are going to have to downsize and reorganize. We have always kind of reached out to the public for some help. You know, could you do something here, maybe host your party here, anything to raise funds? And now that is even more pressing. You know, bundymuseum.org, if you would wish to help, we dearly would appreciate your help, and it would keep a wonderful institution going in Binghamton.
As far as just the last few years, as you mentioned, requests were put out for assistance. And I know there, along the way, I had heard bits and pieces. There were signs that maybe good progress was being made and maybe there was light at the end of the tunnel. But again, given everything else that's going on in the world, not just specifically with respect to the Bundy Museum, but just the cost of everything, whether it's utilities or, well, everything. The costs since post-COVID have gone up. In fact, since 2020, since COVID, seems like almost all aspects of our lives have changed. One thing that actually, and this might surprise you, the first time I ever went through the Bundy Museum was during COVID, because a friend and I, we were looking for things to do, things we hadn't done before, even if they were like literally right in front of us, was never a difficult thing, just for some reason. So we went to various places, whether it was right here in Broome County or a short day trip, and just opportunities to see the things that we should have seen before. And the Bundy Museum was one of them. And I was just fascinated with so much. I'd heard people talk about it, done some interviews about the Bundy, but until I actually saw all that was there, and I don't know how much time we spent. We spent a few hours really soaking it all in, and I was stunned at just everything that was going on there, including a radio station.
And a radio station, yes, absolutely. Radio station is still open, but we are actively looking for someone else to kind of support it, and or to relocate it. We just don't know at this time what the future holds. Fingers crossed, toes crossed. We're really hoping to come back and be a measure to what we have been in the past, but not everything will maintain itself as it has been, unfortunately.
So according to the announcement that came several days ago, the final day of operation, at least at this point, prior to the what's expected to be a temporary closure, the final day is on Saturday, August 22nd?
Correct. And we encourage everybody between now and then, come on out, say hello, support the home team, if you will. Come see what the inventor of the time machine was capable of doing. Come out, maybe travel through time yourself. Look at the exhibits. Behold the greatness that has been achieved there. And maybe, just maybe, reach in your pocket and kind of help us to create our future.
And also going forward, not just by visiting and maybe providing financial support at this time, but also telling other people about it. Because my guess is I wasn't the only one who drove past that site on Main Street hundreds or thousands of times and always thought, oh, there's the Bundy Museum. That looks good. Well, the outside looks good, but until you've been inside, you can't really appreciate
you have no idea what
the beauty and what a treasure that is for the Binghamton region.
The mansion is phenomenal. The woodwork within the mansion, be it the parlor done in sycamore, the cherry in the clamshell room, the walnut, the oak. The house is staggeringly beautiful for its time period. And then, of course, you get to the carriage house, and we actually recreated the exhibit from the 1893 Columbia World's Fair where Bundy launched his business with his time recorders. So we've recreated the facade of the actual exhibit from the 1893 World's Fair, and we've housed the time recording clocks out there. There's an antique marble barber shop out back. There's a bar, which services when we have the bands and when we do different weddings and other functions. It's a phenomenal complex. We have the photo studio. You can do black and white photography. You can get your photos developed there. We have the radio station. We have the rotating art galleries. And, of course, we're very active in First Friday every month.
John Darrow, thank you for coming in.
Always a pleasure.
And giving us a little more context to the history of the Bundy Museum, where things stand now, and also hope for the future. And certainly keep me posted. Encourage everybody involved in the Bundy Museum to continue to look toward the future. And let's hope for a big reopening announcement in the not too distant future.
Fingers crossed. We're looking forward to it. Bob, thank you. Always a pleasure.
11:22. Now is a good time for people to call if you have things to talk about. 607-772-1290. WNBF Live. Oh, hi. I just thought of something. But no, I'm not going to say it on the air. I don't want to be pellied on a Tuesday. Maybe a Friday, but not on a Tuesday. Well, here's something. It just goes to show what kind of world we're living in. This is according to the Syracuse newspaper, Syracuse.com. So they're trying to kiss up to the president to get federal funding for Interstate 81. So listen to what they've done. New York State will not require contractors on a $2.1 billion Interstate 81 project to hire union workers for the first time on the largest ever transportation project in the state. It's a $2 billion project just up the road, I-81. The DOT has dropped the project labor agreement it used for the first half of the I-81 project to try to get approval for federal funding from President Trump. Project labor agreements on earlier I-81 contracts required companies to hire 75% of their labor from union halls. The agreement also set guidelines for wages, benefits, and work hours. So what this means is New Yorkers who will be working on the I-81 project in the future, they're going to get paid less money, fewer benefits. See what I'm saying? All in a desperate bid to get federal money from Donald Trump. According to the chairman of the Assembly Transportation Committee, Bill Magnarelli, he said Trump's highway administration tied the state's hands. He said the federal government was simply not advancing state highway projects with labor agreements attached. The state rebid another project in the Hudson Valley, and officials decided to bid the latest I-81 contract without a labor agreement. So there you go. There you go. More New York workers will suffer because of the president's policies. Contractors, of course, have historically fought project labor agreements. They contend they drive up cost and kill competition. Unions love them because they work for their members. Unions want their members to get better pay and better benefits. In July, a joint venture won the latest contract, the largest contract on the biggest project in New York State DOT history. So anyway, that's exactly how it's working out. So if you thought for some reason that Donald Trump was on your side when it comes to getting higher pay and higher benefits, well, apparently not. DOT needs federal money, and so, as we said, the decision's been made not to have that project labor agreement for that big Interstate 81 project in Syracuse. So hey, I agree. We need the money. We need the money. I don't know much about America. The only thing I know, whether it's the state DOT or Bob Joseph, we all need the money. Oh, my God. I mean that. I can't even tell you, kids, what happened. Just stay tuned. It's the biggest event in the history of this program, and it's about to happen live. And honestly, I can't tell you I'm exactly surprised because I knew that something was going to happen. I just didn't know it was going to be this wonderful. And again, if you have kids, get them off the computer, tell them to stop playing their video games, get everybody in front of their radio. You got to hear this, folks. You got to just hear this, what's going to happen on the radio. This doesn't happen every day. It's never happened before, and the truth is it's probably never going to happen again. I mean, this station's been on for nearly a century, and I guarantee you this sort of thing has never happened on WNBF. Ever. A lot's happened here. We used to have Bill Parker here. We used to have Tony Russell here. None of them ever got this kind of treatment. None of them. I'm not kidding. Radio history about to be made. Again, notify the authorities, the media. If you run a media company, you probably ought to send not one crew, send a couple of crews down here. Because this is radio history. I'm sure CNN will want copies. C-SPAN will probably run the whole thing in its entirety because that's what C-SPAN does. Heck, even Sean Hannity is probably going to get me on the program as a special guest this afternoon during the 5 o'clock hour. So, again, if you're driving, you may want to pull over. If you believe in prayer, hey, my prayers have been answered. That's all I'm going to say. Stay tuned, folks, for the very best thing that's ever happened on the radio here in Binghamton on WNBF. Coming up next. I don't believe I've ever seen as many Lamb Speedies. And I'm not kidding. The Lupo's truck, and this just goes to show how life is weird. You know life is weird. Of course, life is always weird. And so when I was driving in today, I'm on the Vestal Parkway, just actually near the Parkway in South Wash, near, remember the Number 5 restaurant, now Number 5 Commons. So I was zipping past there. Well, no, I can't zip past there because the speed limit's 30. And in front of me is this truck, and I took a picture of it when it was at the traffic signal. It says Lupo Speedies, quality meats and marinades, speedy delivery. And it's got the iconic Lupo's guy. Can't think of the Lupo's guy. His name's probably Sam, with the Speedies on a skewer in one hand and the marinade in the other hand. So I was following. And little did I know, let's see, when did I take that picture? And it was, as they say, this is way too much information, but that's okay because we're your information station. So that was at 8:41. I took that picture, and who knew, less than 3 hours later, I would be enjoying the most Lamb Speedies I've ever seen. So thanks to Richard and everybody with Sam Lupo and Sons and the Rumble Ponies organization that made that happen. Yeah, I promise for the rest of the week I won't say anything at all about Lamb Speedies. This it's almost like I'm doing a radio show from heaven. Jesse and Owego, you're on the air.
That's exactly what I just told that. It's got to be like heaven on earth. Congratulations to all of you at the studio and the staff. Boy, oh boy. How do you beat a moment like that?
I don't know. I'm going to have a Speedy Fest. Let me see how many Speedies. I didn't even count. I can't tell. It looks like there are between 15 and 20 Lamb Speedies here. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I might have to have a Speedy Fest over at the roundabout. I'm not sure what to do. Well, first, obviously, I'll go and see if there are other people here at the station that like Lamb Speedies. I can't imagine anybody at the station who doesn't like Lamb Speedies, but man,
I wish I was there.
I wish you were here too. The problem is I can't drive any to Owego because by the time I get to Owego, none will be left.
I know.
So
it's bumping me out.
But it's one of those things. It is remarkable, and we had sort of been talking about this again since last baseball season to do something involving Lamb Speedies, and I wasn't sure exactly how we would do it or how it would eventually happen. I wasn't even sure. I thought when he was talking about it last Friday when I was over at St. Mary's Bazaar and ran into him after I had my Lamb Speedy on Friday evening here in downtown Binghamton, I thought what he was probably going to do was like bring over one Lamb Speedy, maybe two, but I didn't think. Yeah, and which would have been, one would have been sufficient, but this is. And so who knows? This is like a dream come true. It's sort of, I have to say, in all my life, I've never seen, I've seen a lot of Speedy meat. If you go to the place, well, either Lupo's there. I haven't actually been over at Lupo's facility inside over in West Endicott on Dixon Street. One of these days, I'm meaning to get over there since they've been there for a few years. But, I've seen lots of Speedies back when S&S Char Pit was open over on West State Street. And I got spoiled there. I have to acknowledge. I think I've mentioned I started taking it for granted because, I don't know, maybe a couple times a month, maybe more. I would just call up, say at about 12:05, I'd say a Lamb Speedy or a Lamb Sub. That's all I would say. And then he would say, all right, Bob, see you in 10 minutes. It was just that easy. And then, unfortunately, they had to make a business decision to close the restaurant over there on West State Street. But good memories. And, again, my thanks to Richard and to everybody who made that possible. Hope people could understand just how happy that little segment made me.
Oh, that was perfect. You can't beat that, Bob. It's like a one-of-a-kind event. And there's probably going to be nothing like it again unless, like you said, if they open up that old McDonald's. And
well, you never know. I wouldn't rule it out. You know, as I said earlier on the program, I don't think McDonald's wants to sell that spot, that spot there in Endwell where Hooper School used to be. If they wanted to sell it, they'd just say the heck with it, and we'll let some Endicott punk named Bob try to open up a Speedy Shack there. Because, again, the nearest McDonald's locations are miles away in Endicott or Johnson City. So, I don't know. Whatever.
I'd like to see that here in Owego because the SNSs you were talking about, when I worked up there, that was a daily lunch tradition.
Yeah. Actually, the tough thing, well, now that I think about it, the tough thing about actually opening up Bob's Speedy Shack over at the closed McDonald's location there in Endwell, it would be too close to the existing Lupo's Char Pit. So while I was thinking it'd be a nice location, I certainly wouldn't be competing with the existing Lupo's operation there. So I would have to find a better location. Yeah, someplace in Owego. Someplace. Oh, I know in Owego, right where they used to have that Pizza Hut. We could have the Speedy Hut. It's too bad they tore it down.
Are you reading my mind? That means they can build brand new, and it's perfect.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Speedy Hut. Anyway, hope you have a great afternoon. Thanks for dialing in.
Yes, you as well, Bob.
11:52 WNBF. It's Lamb Speedy Tuesday. Brought to you by... No, not brought to you by PETA. I still want to be a member of PETA, but I don't think I can because Cliffy from the ward, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bob.
How's it going there?
Well, I'm in the ward now. I just came from a doctor's appointment about 20 minutes ago back home to the ward, and I see Rich turning south onto State Street, and I yelled at him, "Hey, Rich!" He must have been with Sam. I didn't smell weed. It smelled more like Speedies when Rich rode by. He must have had the Speedy load in his SUV there. So I yelled at Rich, and he looked back and waved and laughed. But what are the chances? You see the truck, and I see the delivery going over to your station.
Yeah, it's wild. And
it is wild.
He loaded. Do you like lamb Speedies? I'm going to try one. Have one. Help yourself. So anybody? Eric up? Hold on. Is anybody else upstairs?
There's a couple.
All right. Yeah, take as many as you can because I can only eat about 6.
They stopped and they're like, "Lamb Speedies, help yourself."
Hey.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Bob.
Thanks. Yes.
I'll meet you at the Clinton Calf in about 15 minutes. You could buy me some lamb Speedies up there. How's that? Have a good one, Bob.
Okay, thanks. 11:53 WNBF. Speedies for America. It's an abundance of riches. If I could. So it's this whole thing. And if you've been to the ballpark and you see like the insulated bags that they use for hot dogs or pretzels or whatever at the game, this thing it's loaded with lamb Speedies. It's who could even have imagined? I mean, to think that they actually cook these things specifically, not even specifically for this program, but just specifically for the host of the program. So, yeah, make sure they go to a good home.
They're going to the sales team.
Yes, excellent. Tell them thank you. So our sales team will get some. Our receptionist, she just grabbed one. Oh, my gosh. Problem is, though, I don't think Mary Beth is with us today. Oh. Maybe I'll drive one over to Mary Beth. And she'll be like, "Oh, Bob, you shouldn't have." But I did. See what else is going on. It's more Speedies, more huffing. Oh, I know. Let's take a look at the email, see if we've generated any complaints with this focus over the last 23 minutes on Speedies. I'm sure somebody has something. Hold on. Let me see. So now I don't even have to go out to lunch. I've got my... I'm not sure if I could even force myself to have another. I will force myself to have another. Oh, here's a reminder from my friends at the DOT. It's too bad our Speedies aren't going to last that long. I was going to say I would go over to the state office building and distribute some of these Lamb Speedies to my friends at the DOT, but they probably wouldn't let me go through security. Darn. Anyway, the DOT just sent a reminder, thank you, Anya, about State Street. Oh, my goodness. And I want to commend the DOT. The other day, DOT stopped by to hand deliver a travel advisory about this work that is scheduled to start tomorrow. This is an important reminder that part of State Street North in Binghamton will close starting at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning as part of the Binghamton 363 Gateway project. The closure will extend from the northbound side of the State Street Bridge to Susquehanna Street. It will remain in place for about 3 months while crews remove an existing concrete median barrier, install underground drainage and utility crossings, and place new pavement at Route 434 and State Street. So that's exciting. Route 434 eastbound traffic heading into Binghamton via the State Street Bridge will be reduced from 3 lanes to 1 lane, with motorists directed onto a assigned detour beginning at the existing Cloverleaf off-ramp. Man, I'm looking forward to this tomorrow. I'm going to come in early tomorrow just to see how this works out. Southbound motorists who are leaving downtown Binghamton will still have access to the State Street Bridge. However, traffic will be reduced to a single lane. And, of course, drivers should follow posted signs, allow for extra travel time, and be cautious while you go through the work zone. Be cautious. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the workers. Don't drive carelessly. And get off your phone. Get off your phone. Oh, and Jesse writes, now I'm wondering if Governor Hochul is going to get continued support from all the unions. It's going to be interesting. And Jesse says, I'm guessing no longer. Well, she will. I'll tell you why she'll still get support from the unions. Because I think the unions, at least the people who run the key unions that will be doing work on the Interstate 81 project, they understand that basically she was forced into making this decision. Because if the project is going to go forward, it will need a substantial amount of federal money. So, as long as Donald Trump is president, for at least the next 2.5 years, if not longer, then states like New York have to adjust. You don't have to like it, but Kathy Hochul is bright enough to understand that if New York wants to be considered for any federal funding, that it has to make some changes. Now, if there's ever a Democratic president again, then things might change back. But in the meantime, as long as Donald Trump is president, and if, for example, J.D. Vance or a Republican remains in the White House, they may have to continue this policy. It all depends. It all depends. So the unions, while they might not be happy with Governor Hochul's decision regarding the Interstate 81 project, huge project in Syracuse, unions understand if she didn't make this adjustment, the project would not go forward. So that's essentially the bottom line. You don't have to like it. You just have to appreciate reality and make changes. So in the end, they'll still get jobs. They're just not likely to get paid as much as they might otherwise would have under a project labor agreement. So at least they'll get something, and the work needs to be done. That's our program for today. I must finish off a couple more lamb speedies. That's the way it is. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Have a great afternoon. I'm Bob Joseph.
News, talk, and information for Binghamton and Central New York. This is News Radio, WNBF, Binghamton, a Town Square media station.